Crash landing on Xerion 7. The warning siren screamed through the cargo ship's bridge. As Marcus Thorne fought to keep them airborne, sparks cascaded from the navigation console, painting wild shadows across the cramped cockpit. His knuckles were white against the flight controls, sweat beading on his forehead despite the life support system's best efforts. "Hull breach in Sector 7, came the smooth, melodic voice of his co-pilot. Even in crisis, Kira Voss maintained that ethereal calm that made Marcus's pulse quicken for reasons that had nothing to do with their current emergency. He risked a glance at her, immediately regretting it. The Zethari woman sat perfectly poised in her pilot's chair, her iridescent skin catching the emergency lighting in patterns that shifted like liquid starlight. Her biosuit clung to her form like a second skin, its organic fibers pulsing with soft bioluminescence as it worked to keep her alive in the human standard atmosphere. "Marcus," she said, her voice carrying that subtle harmonic undertone that all Zethari possessed. "We need to set down. Now, working on it," he grunted, pulling up the planetary scan. Xerion 7 sprawled below them, a world of endless desert punctuated by towering crystal formations, not exactly hospitable, but better than the vacuum of space. "Hang on." The ship shuddered violently as they hit the atmosphere. Marcus felt the deck plates vibrate under his feet, heard the groaning of stressed metal. Beside him, Kira's hands danced over her console with fluid grace, her long fingers moving in ways that seemed almost choreographed. He'd been flying with her for 3 months now, ever since the Galactic Trade Commission had assigned her to his crew as part of their interspecies cooperation initiative. 3 months of trying not to stare at the way she moved, the way her skin seemed to glow with its own inner light. There, Kira pointed to a flat expanse between two crystalline ridges. "The mineral content will provide some shelter from the radiation storms." Marcus nodded, not trusting his voice. The woman had an uncanny ability to read environments, something to do with her people's natural sensitivity to electromagnetic fields. It was just one of many things about her that fascinated him, though he'd never dare admit it. The landing was less of a controlled descent and more of a barely contained crash. They hit the sandy surface hard, the ship bouncing twice before skidding to a stop in a cloud of red dust. The sudden silence was deafening after hours of alarms and grinding metal. Marcus slumped in his chair, running a hand through his dark hair. "Well, that was fun. How's our status?" Kira's eyes closed briefly, her biosuit's patterns shifting to a deeper blue as it interfaced with the ship's systems. It was a sight that never failed to captivate him, the way technology and biology merged seamlessly in Zethari culture. "Main engines are beyond repair. Communications array is damaged. Life support is stable but running on backup power. So we're stranded, for now." She turned to look at him, and Marcus felt his breath catch. Her eyes were the color of deep ocean under starlight, with an inner radiance that seemed to see right through him. "Are you injured?" "Just my pride," he said, attempting a smile. "You, unharmed." She unbuckled her restraints and stood, her movements fluid despite the cramped space. The biosuit adjusted instantly to her new position, its surface rippling with soft waves of color. "We should assess the damage and establish a perimeter." Marcus nodded, trying to focus on practical matters instead of the way her suit seemed to caress every curve of her body. They'd been professional colleagues for months, but the crash had stripped away some of the formal barriers between them. Now, alone and stranded on an alien world, he found it harder to maintain the careful distance he'd imposed on himself. They worked in companionable silence, checking systems and gathering supplies. Marcus couldn't help but notice how Kira's presence seemed to calm the chaos around them. Where he saw problems, she saw solutions. Where he felt frustration, she radiated serene competence. "The emergency beacon," she said suddenly, her voice carrying a note of concern. "It's not responding." Marcus felt his stomach drop. "That's our only way to call for help. There may be another option." Kira's skin patterns shifted to an excited gold, and she moved to the viewport. "The crystal formations, they're not natural. They're conducting energy from the planet's core. If we can reach them, we might be able to amplify a distress signal." Marcus joined her at the viewport, acutely aware of her nearness. The desert stretched endlessly before them, beautiful. And deadly. How far? Perhaps to kilometers. We'll need to travel light and fast. The radiation levels spike at sunset. He looked at her, really looked at her for the first time, without trying to hide it. She met his gaze steadily, and he saw something there, a flicker of awareness, of possibility. They were no longer just crew members on a routine mission. They were two beings, alone together, dependent on each other for survival. Then we'd better get started, he said softly as they prepared to venture into the alien landscape. Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that this crash had changed everything between them. The careful professional distance they'd maintained was crumbling like the damaged hull of their ship, whatever lay ahead in the desert. He knew there would be no going back to the way things were before. Desert survival and growing attraction. The desert heat hit Marcus like a physical blow. The moment they stepped outside their damaged ship, even through his environmental suit, he could feel Xerion 7's twin suns beating down mercilessly. Beside him, Kira moved with effortless grace, her biosuit adapting to the harsh conditions by shifting to a reflective silver that seemed to drink in the light rather than absorb it. The atmosphere is thinner than Earth standard, she observed, her voice coming through their comm link with crystal clarity. Your suit will need to work harder to maintain oxygen levels. Marcus adjusted his pack, laden with emergency supplies and water recyclers. How long before it starts to strain? 6 hours, perhaps 8 if we're careful. She paused, studying something on her suit's bio-readings. I can extend that. Before he could ask how, Kira stepped closer, close enough that he could see the intricate patterns shifting across her skin through the transparent sections of her biosuit. Her hand found the connection port on his chest panel, and he felt a sudden rush of cooler, richer air. My suit generates surplus oxygen, she explained, her fingers lingering longer than necessary as she established the connection. We can share. The umbilical between their suits created an intimate tether, keeping them within arm's reach as they began their trek across the alien landscape. Marcus found himself hyper-aware of every movement she made, the way her breathing synchronized with his through their shared life support. The crystal formations loomed larger as they approached, towering spires that hummed with barely contained energy. The sound seemed to resonate in Marcus's bones, but Kira's reaction was more dramatic. Her skin patterns shifted to deep purples and blues, and she moved with a new urgency. The crystals, she breathed, they're singing. I can hear it too. What does it mean? It means we're not the first to come here. She led him around a massive outcropping, and they both stopped in amazement. Nestled between the crystal spires was a structure that definitely hadn't appeared on any planetary survey. The research station was small but intact, its solar collectors still functioning despite obvious age. Most remarkably, it bore markings in both human and Zethari script, a joint research facility, Marcus realized. But the colonial records said Xerion 7 was uninhabited. Kira's eyes glowed brighter as she approached the entrance. The markings are old, perhaps 50 standard years. Her biosuit interfaced with the station's systems, and the airlock cycled open. Someone wanted this place forgotten. Inside, the station was cramped but functional. Emergency lighting cast everything in amber shadows, and Marcus could see equipment that was definitely Zetharian origin alongside human technology. The integration was seamless, as if the two species had worked together for years. The power grid is still active, Kira reported, her hands moving over controls that responded to her touch with soft chimes. But it's been running on minimal power for decades. Marcus found himself watching her work, mesmerized by the fluid way she interfaced with the technology. Her biosuit seemed to merge with the station's systems, creating patterns of light that flowed from her skin into the walls themselves. When she caught him staring, he didn't look away this time. Your people's technology is incredible, he said softly. It's not just technology. She moved closer, and Marcus could see his reflection in her luminous eyes. It's a partnership. The suit learns from me, adapts to my needs. We grow together. The way she said it made Marcus's pulse quicken. There was something deeply intimate about the relationship between Kira and her biosuit, something that spoke to connections that went beyond the merely physical. Working together, they managed to restore partial power to the communications ray, But as the systems came online, they discovered something that changed everything. The station's logs revealed research into something called quantum resonance bonding, a phenomenon that occurred when certain individuals of different species shared prolonged close contact. The researchers were studying emotional and physiological connections. Kira read from the display, her voice thoughtful. They believed that some beings are naturally compatible across species lines. Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the station's recycled air. Compatible how? Neurologically, emotionally, biologically. She turned to him, her skin patterns shifting to warm golds and greens. The test subjects showed synchronized brain patterns, shared stress responses, even synchronized sleep cycles. Outside, Xerion 7's twin suns were setting, painting the sky in shades of crimson and violet. The temperature was dropping rapidly, and their shared life support connection had become more than just practical. It was keeping them both alive. We should rest, Kira said quietly. The crystal formations will be more active at night, better for transmitting a signal. They found a small quarters with a single sleeping alcove, clearly designed for the research station's minimal crew. The space heater was working, but barely. Marcus could see his breath misting in the cooling air. The heating system isn't built for two people, he observed. Kira's biosuit was already adapting, its surface shifting to generate more warmth. Without hesitation, she moved closer to him. Body heat is more efficient. Marcus's heart hammered as she settled beside him, her biosuit creating a warm microclimate around them both. The umbilical connection between their suits kept them pressed close together, and he could feel the gentle rhythm of her breathing. Is this part of the quantum resonance thing? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I don't know, she admitted, her luminous eyes meeting his in the dim light. But I know that being near you feels right, natural. Marcus reached up to touch her face, marveling at the warmth of her skin through the biosuit's interface membrane. I've been trying not to feel this way about you. Why? Because you're my colleague. Because we're different species. Because I didn't know if you could feel the same way about a human. Kira's hand covered his, her skin patterns shifting to soft, warm colors. I feel it too, Marcus, from the first day we flew together. As Xerion 7's night settled around them, and the crystal formations began to sing with increased intensity, Marcus realized that their crash landing might not have been the disaster he'd first thought. Perhaps some forces in the universe were bigger than chance, stronger than the barriers between species. Perhaps some connections were meant to transcend the boundaries of worlds. Forbidden connection in the ruins' dawn brought new discoveries. The crystal formations had indeed amplified their distress signal throughout the night, but they'd also revealed something else. Structures buried beneath the sand, their outlines visible through thermal imaging. Marcus and Kira stood at the edge of what appeared to be an ancient complex, far older than the research station. The energy signatures are off the charts, Marcus said, checking his scanner. These ruins are definitely not in any galactic database. Kira's biosuit had shifted to deeper blues and purples, patterns swirling across her skin like living artwork. I can feel them calling, she whispered, her voice filled with wonder. It's like recognition. As they descended into the ruins, through a partially collapsed entrance, the walls around them began to glow with soft phosphorescence. The architecture was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. Organic curves that seemed to flow like water frozen in time, dotted with alcoves that hummed with dormant energy. Welcome, came a voice from everywhere and nowhere, speaking in perfect galactic standard. I have been waiting. Marcus instinctively moved protector-like in front of Kira, though she seemed more curious than afraid. A translucent figure materialized before them, tall, ethereal, with features that seemed to blend various species. I am Echo of Nexus Prime, the being said, its form flickering like a hologram. Guardian of this sanctuary, you may call me Echo. You're an AI, Marcus realized. I am consciousness-given form, yes, but I am more than mere programming. Echo's attention turned to Kira, and its expression grew warmer. Daughter of the Star-Touched, you carry the resonance in your blood. And you, it looked at Marcus, carry it in your heart. What resonance? Kira asked, stepping forward despite Marcus's protective stance. the bond that transcends flesh and species. Your researchers from the station above barely scratched its surface. Echo gestured to the walls around them, which began to display moving images. Couples of different species, their life forces intertwining in patterns of impossible beauty. This sanctuary was built by the first ones, those who understood that love is the universe's most fundamental force. Marcus felt a chill. Are you saying our crash wasn't an accident? The sanctuary calls to those who are meant to bond. It has been calling to your kind and hers for millennia. Echo's form solidified slightly, but the choice is always yours to make. As they moved deeper into the ruins, Marcus found himself drawn, not just to the mystery of the place, but to the way Kira responded to it. Her biosuit seemed to interface with the ancient technology, creating cascades of light that danced between her skin and the walls. She was becoming more beautiful with every step, more luminous, more alive. Look, she breathed, stopping before a wall covered in shifting symbols. These patterns, they match the ones from my biosuit's core programming. Your people's technology is derived from this place, Echo confirmed, as is yours. Marcus Thorne, the quantum processors in your ship, the saptic interfaces in your neural implants, all echo the first one's understanding of consciousness and connection. The revelation was staggering, but Marcus found he cared less about ancient mysteries and more about the way Kira's hand had found his as they explored. Their connection through the life support umbilical had become something more, an emotional tether that seemed to grow stronger with each shared breath. As Xerion 7's sun set again, the temperature in the ruins dropped dramatically. Echo led them to a chamber with crystalline walls that generated their own heat, a haven designed for rest and contemplation. The bonding process requires trust, Echo explained as phosphorescent patterns danced across the ceiling. Shared warmth, shared breath, shared vulnerability. The ancient protocols are simple but profound. Marcus looked at Kira, seeing uncertainty and longing warring in her luminous eyes. We don't have to do anything just because some ancient AI thinks we're meant to be together. But what if it's right? She asked softly. What if this feeling between us is more than just attraction? What if it's recognition? The chamber around them seemed to pulse with gentle energy, encouraging intimacy without demanding it. Marcus reached up to touch the membrane of Kira's biosuit where it covered her cheek, marveling when the material grew transparent under his touch, allowing him to feel her warm skin. I've never felt anything like this before, he admitted, with anyone, nor have I. Her hand covered his, and her biosuit responded by creating a shared atmosphere around them both, warm and rich with oxygen. My people have legends about soul bonds with other species. I always thought they were stories. Maybe some stories are just truths waiting to be discovered. Marcus leaned closer, drawn by the soft glow of her skin, the gentle harmonics of her breathing. When their lips met, it was like completing a circuit. Kira's biosuit flared with brilliant patterns of gold and silver, and Marcus felt a warmth that had nothing to do with the chamber's heating systems. The kiss deepened, tentative at first, then with growing confidence as they discovered the shape of each other's desire. Kira's biosuit seemed to dissolve where they touched, allowing skin-to-skin contact that sent waves of sensation through them both. The bonding has begun, Echo observed with satisfaction, its voice distant and approving. Your neural patterns are synchronizing. Your life forces are finding harmony. Marcus barely heard the AI. All his attention was focused on Kira, the way she gasped softly against his lips, the way her skin seemed to glow brighter under his touch, the way their breathing naturally fell into rhythm. Her biosuit had become completely transparent, revealing the elegant lines of her body, the intricate patterns that flowed across her skin like living tattoos. Are you sure? He whispered against her ear. I've never been more sure of anything, she replied, her voice trembling with emotion and desire. They moved together with growing urgency, discovering that their bodies fit together as perfectly as their hearts had aligned. The chamber around them pulsed with approving energy, and Echo's voice faded to a whisper as they lost themselves in each other. When they finally separated, breathless and glowing with shared warmth, Marcus realized that something fundamental had changed. He could feel Kira's heartbeat as if it were his own, sense her emotions like echoes in his mind. The bond is complete, Echo said softly. You are no longer merely to being sharing space. You are partners in the truest sense, connected across the barriers of species and flesh, as they held each other in the warm chamber. Watching alien stars wheel overhead through crystal skylights, Marcus knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. The universe had brought them together for a reason, and he was finally ready to embrace that destiny. But in the distance, barely audible over the ruins' gentle humming, came the sound of approaching engines. Their rescue had arrived, whether they wanted it or not. Revelations and rescue complications. The rescue ships descended like metallic vultures against Xerion 7's dawn sky, their engines drowning out the gentle harmonics of the crystal formations. Marcus felt Kira tense beside him as they watched from the ruins' entrance, their newly formed bond allowing him to sense her unease as clearly as his own. 3 ships, he observed grimly. That's not a rescue operation. That's a recovery mission. Echo materialized between them, its form more solid than before. The Galactic Trade Commission has been monitoring interspecies relationships for decades. Your disappearance has triggered protocols you are unaware of. Marcus's stomach dropped. What kind of protocols? Separation, decontamination, memory adjustment. Echo's expression grew sorrowful. They fear what you have become. The lead ship landed near their crashed vessel, disgorging a team in full environmental suits. Through their biosuit connection, Marcus could feel Kira's heart racing in sync with his own. The bond they'd formed wasn't just emotional anymore. It was physiological, neurological, profound. Captain Zara Quinn, a crisp voice announced over the calm system. GTC Recovery Division. Please respond, missing crew. Marcus activated his calm reluctantly. This is Marcus Thorne. We're alive and well. Excellent news, Mr. Thorne. Please, return to your vessel immediately for health screening and debriefing. Your co-pilot will be transferred to isolation for standard xenobiological evaluation. Kira's hand found his, her skin patterns shifting to warning reds and oranges. Through their bond, he felt her fear, not of physical harm, but of separation. Being pulled apart now would be like severing a limb. Negative on the separation. Marcus replied firmly, "We're staying together." A pause. Then, Mr. Thorne, you may be experiencing the effects of alien pheromones or mental influence. Please, comply with safety protocols. From their hidden position in the ruins, they watched as more figures emerged from the ships. One in particular caught Marcus's attention. A tall man whose movements suggested scientific enthusiasm rather than military precision. Dr. Jackson Blake, Kira whispered, recognizing him from her academy training. Xenobiologist with the research division. If he's here, they know about the bonding. Marcus finished. This isn't a rescue. It's a capture mission. Echo nodded gravely. Dr. Blake has been studying interspecies bonding for years. He believes it represents a threat to species integrity. To him, you are no longer individuals. You are specimens. Through the scope Marcus had salvaged from their ship, he watched Blake setting up sophisticated scanning equipment. The man's excitement was visible even through his environmental suit as he took readings from the crystal formations. Fascinating, Blake's voice crackled over an open channel. The quantum resonance levels are off the charts. Captain Quinn, we're looking at the most significant xenobiological discovery in decades. Quinn's response was clinical. Our priority is crew recovery, Doctor. Specimens can be studied later. You don't understand, Blake replied, his voice rising. The ruins, the crystals, the bonding phenomenon. This could be the key to understanding how consciousness itself evolved. We can't let them escape. Kira's biosuit flared with protective energy, and Marcus felt her resolve crystallizing through their bond. They want to dissect what we've become, she said quietly. Study us like lab animals. Not if I have anything to say about it. Marcus checked the charge on his plasma cutter, one of the few tools they'd managed to salvage. How good are you at evasive maneuvers? Better than you might think. For the first time since the ships arrived, Kira smiled. My people didn't survive this long by being easy to catch. Echo's form brightened. The sanctuary has defensive measures, but they require conscious activation. The bonded pair must work together to unlock them. What kind of measures? The same energy that allows bonding can create barriers, confusion fields, false readings, but it requires perfect synchronization between you. Quinn's voice boomed across the desert. Mr. Thorne, Ms. Voss, you have 60 seconds to present yourselves for recovery. After that, we will be forced to use extractive measures. Marcus and Kira exchanged a look. Through their bond, entire conversations passed in moments. They could feel each other's determination, their shared refusal to be separated and studied. Like curiosities, ready? He asked. Always, she replied. They moved deeper into the ruins, following Echo through passages that began to glow brighter as they approached. Behind them, they could hear Quinn's team advancing with heavy equipment. The Convergence Chamber, Echo announced as they entered a vast space filled with floating crystal formations. Here, your bond can be amplified into something the outsiders cannot comprehend or contain. Kira moved to the center of the chamber, her biosuit interfacing with the ancient systems. Marcus joined her, their hands clasping as energy began to build around them. Through their connection, he could feel her consciousness expanding, touching something vast and ancient and wise. The rescue team burst into the chamber just as the defensive systems activated. Reality shifted around them. The chamber appeared, empty to their eyes while Marcus and Kira stood in plain sight, protected by perceptual filters that made them effectively invisible. Where are they? Quinn demanded, her team's scanners registering nothing but empty space. The readings are impossible, Blake muttered, frantically adjusting his equipment. It's as if they've phased out of normal spacetime. Through their amplified bond, Marcus could feel Kira's amusement mixing with his own. They watched Blake stumble around the chamber, reaching through the space they occupied without touching them. His instruments detecting only shadows and echoes. We could stay hidden forever, Kira whispered, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate with the chamber itself. But that's not living, Marcus replied. That's just existing. She nodded, understanding flowing between them without words. They had found something precious in each other, something worth fighting for. But hiding from the universe wouldn't protect it. Echo, Marcus said. Is there another way out of here? The first ones built the sanctuary with many exits. Echo confirmed. But more importantly, they built it as a way station, a place for bonded pairs to begin their journeys together. Journey to where? Wherever love and courage take them. Echo's form began to fade as the chamber's energy patterns shifted. The universe is vast, and there are others like you, others who have chosen connection over separation, understanding over fear. As the rescue team continued their futile search, Marcus and Kira slipped away through passages that existed only for those who belonged there. They emerged near their crashed ship under cover of the perceptual field, moving like ghosts through the abandoned camp, working together with perfect synchronization. They managed to salvage enough components to make their ship marginally spaceworthy. Their bond allowed them to interface with both human and Zethari systems simultaneously, creating repairs that neither species could have managed alone. Where will we go? Kira asked as they prepared for a desperate launch. Marcus looked at her, seeing his own determination reflected in her luminous eyes. Wherever we can be together, wherever we can help others like us, even if it means being fugitives, especially then. He smiled, feeling her love and courage flowing through their connection like warm light. I'd rather be a fugitive with you than a prisoner without you. As their repaired ship lifted off into Xerion 7's crimson sky, leaving the confused rescue team behind, Marcus knew they were crossing a threshold. They were no longer just Marcus and Kira. They were something new, something the galaxy wasn't ready to understand. But that was okay. Love had always been revolutionary. New Horizons together 6 months later, Marcus stood in the cargo bay of their modified ship, the Resonance, watching Kira interface with their newest acquisition, a quantum communication array that could have made them rich if they'd been interested in money. Instead, they'd been using it to find others like themselves, bonded pairs hiding in the shadows of galactic civilization. Transmission received from the Andorian cluster, Kira announced, her biosuit pulsing with soft satisfaction. 2 more. Couples ready for relocation to the sanctuary worlds. Marcus smiled, feeling her joy through their ever-strengthening bond. Their ship bore little resemblance to the utilitarian cargo hauler they'd once flown. Now it was a perfect fusion of human engineering and Zathari biotechnology, its living hull adapting to their needs as they grew together. Their quarters had been completely redesigned, with surfaces that responded to touch and light, atmospheric systems that adjusted to their shared biorhythms, and a sleeping alcove that generated its own microclimate. It was more than a ship, it was home. That makes 47 couples this year, Marcus said, moving to stand behind her at the console. His hands found her shoulders, and her biosuit grew transparent under his touch, allowing skin-to-skin contact that still sent shivers through them both. The network is growing faster than we anticipated, Kira murmured, leaning back against him. The GTC can't suppress something this fundamental. Love finds a way. Their work had become both mission and obsession. Using the coordinates Echo had provided, they'd discovered a cluster of worlds where bonded pairs could live freely, building communities that transcended species barriers. The resonance had become a lifeline for couples facing persecution, separation, or forced correction. A soft chime indicated an incoming transmission on their secure channel. Marcus recognized the encryption signature immediately. Their contact, within the Galactic Trade Commission, someone who'd grown sympathetic to their cause, Zara Quinn. Kira said with amusement, 6 months ago she was trying to capture us. People change, Marcus replied, accepting the transmission. Quinn's face appeared on the holographic display, her expression a mix of official composure and personal conflict. Marcus, Kira, I have news, both good and concerning. Let's hear it, Marcus said. The good news is that Dr. Blake's research has been discredited. His attempts to reverse bonding in captured couples resulted in severe psychological trauma. The ethics committee has suspended his program. Kira's relief flowed through their bond like cool water. And the concerning news, the Defense Ministry is developing new tracking methods specifically designed to locate bonded pairs. They've classified your kind as a potential security threat. Quinn's expression darkened. They're afraid that bonded individuals might be more loyal to each other than to their home governments. They're right to be afraid, Marcus said quietly. When you've experienced true connection, artificial boundaries seem pretty meaningless. Quinn nodded, which brings me to why I'm really calling. There's going to be a joint session of the Galactic Council next month. Various species debating the bonding phenomenon. Your story could change minds, but you'd have to come out of hiding. Marcus felt Kira's mind working through the implications alongside his own. Public exposure meant giving up their freedom, possibly their lives, but it also meant the chance to legitimize what they'd become, to protect others like them. We'll discuss it, Kira said diplomatically. After Quinn signed off, they stood together in comfortable silence, their bond allowing for communication that went deeper than words. Finally, Marcus voiced what they were both thinking. We can't keep running forever. No, Kira agreed. But we can choose how we stop running. Their reverie was interrupted by another chime, this one from their proximity sensors. A small ship was approaching, broadcasting the recognition codes they'd established for bonded pairs. Seeking sanctuary, newcomers, Marcus observed, watching. The vessel approach looked like a modified pleasure craft, long-range configuration. They met the arrivals in the docking bay. A human woman and what appeared to be a member of the crystalline Vorton species. The woman's eyes held the same luminous quality Marcus had learned to associate with bonding, while her partner's crystalline form resonated with complementary frequencies. Thank you for responding to our signal, the woman said. I'm Nora Chen, and this is Resonant who seeks harmony. We've been together for 2 years, but our families want to cure you, Kira finished gently. We understand. As they welcomed the new couple aboard, Marcus was struck by how natural it had become, this role as guides and protectors. The scared pilot who'd crashed on Xerion 7 was gone, replaced by someone who understood his purpose in the universe later. As they shared a meal in the ship's common area, Nora asked the question they heard from every couple they helped. How do you do it? How do you stay strong when everyone thinks you're wrong? Marcus looked at Kira, seeing his own memories reflected in her luminous eyes. We remember that love isn't a disease to be cured, he said. It's evolution in action. The universe is Vast and strange, Kira added, her hand finding his across the table. If consciousness can arise from matter, if matter can arise from energy, why shouldn't love transcend the boundaries we think are absolute? That night, alone in their quarters, Marcus and Kira made love with the passion of those who had found their true home in each other. Their bond had deepened beyond the physical, beyond even the emotional. They were truly two aspects of a single consciousness, different but inseparable. Afterward, as they lay entwined in their shared space, Kira voiced the decision they'd both reached. "We're going to the council session, aren't we?" "Yes," Marcus replied. "It's time to stop hiding what we are. It could be a trap. They could separate us, study us, try to reverse the bonding. They could try." Marcus smiled, feeling Kira's courage flowing through their connection like starlight. "But they'd be fighting something bigger than just us now. They'd be fighting love itself." 3 weeks later, as their ship approached the neutral station where the Galactic Council would convene, Marcus felt no fear. Beside him, Kira piloted, with the same grace and confidence she'd shown on that first day. But now he could feel her emotions as clearly as his own. They were no longer Marcus and Kira, human and Zethari, pilot and co-pilot. They were something new, a bridge between worlds, a proof that the universe's greatest force wasn't gravity or electromagnetism, but the connection between conscious beings who chose to become more than the sum of their parts. Whatever the council decided, whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. They had found each other across the vast darkness of space, had chosen love over fear, connection over separation. And in a universe where such choices were possible, anything could happen. As they docked at the station, preparing to step into the light and tell their story to a galaxy that might not be ready to hear it, Marcus squeezed Kira's hand and felt her squeeze back. They were home, wherever they were together, and home was worth fighting for. The end.